Hello, FCS parents, and welcome to February. Yes, it is already the second month of the year. 1/12 of the year is over, and the year is quickly going by. Only 4 months left in the school year. When you say it like that, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of time. Especially when we're as busy as we are here at the school right now. This is one of the busiest times of the year because not only are we still working on this school year and making sure that everything is accounted for and taken care of with students and with everything else for this school year, but as you know, re-enrollment begins in just a few weeks. So we have to have everything prepared for next school year. So we're already working on calendars and schedules and budgets and a policy review, handbook review, curriculum review. All that kind of stuff is taking place as we prepare for next school year. There's a lot of things we need to get finalized before re-enrollment begins. So we're busy doing all of that. Along those lines, we still have a lot of things we need to do. So I know your calendar says that re-enrollment begins on February 12th. We need to push that back by 1 week to February 19th. Again, we've got a couple things, one of which I'll be talking about in just a minute, that we still need to finalize. And once we get all that done, we'll be ready for re-enrollment, but we do need to push that back by 1 week. Tuition rates for next school year will go up on the website tomorrow, I believe. And then as more things get finalized between schedules and handbooks and all that kind of stuff, we'll start posting and let you know about that stuff. All that will be done before re-enrollment begins, but we just need a little bit more time to get all of that kind of stuff completed. Next year is also an accreditation year for us, which means we have to get things ready for visiting committees to come to Fairfield Christian School. We're accredited by WASC and ACTS, that's the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, WASC, and the Association of Christian Teachers in Schools, that's ACTS. They've got a joint protocol and joint standards, and so what they do is they come to our campus. We'll have already written a self-study, which is we're doing that right now. We'll give them the self-study. They'll read that self-study. They'll make sure that what we say in that self-study is actually taking place on this campus, and then make sure that all of that meets their standards for our school. As we're preparing for this self-study and all this kind of stuff going on, there are a few areas that we noticed we probably need to improve a little bit. I should say, 5 years ago, when our last visit took place, everything wasn't perfect, but we were in a pretty good spot. In fact, we got the highest level of accreditation, a 6-year accreditation, free and clear, no midterm visit. Everything was great. Obviously, things change and standards change. So as we started taking a look at some of the things for this next accreditation visit, we realized that our instructional minutes for high school were a little low. Those have been increased over time, so we need to bring those up a little bit. So as we were taking a look for next school year, how we can adjust that for next school year, we were looking at either lengthening the day or adding days to the school year, which is kind of limiting in terms of your options. So we decided, you know what, let's open up the box a little bit. What other options are out there to help us increase instructional minutes, but also be the most effective and efficient school possible? And something came up that we've kind of casually talked about over the last several years, but because of this situation now, it becomes more of a reality. And that is the possibility of going to a 4-day school week for middle school and high school. Let me be clear, preschool and elementary would remain on a 5-day schedule, same schedule as now. But we're looking at the possibility of moving middle school and high school to a 4-day school week. There are over 800 school districts in the country right now that have 4-day school weeks. There's a lot of data to look at. There's a lot of other programs to analyze and look at, to take the good and the bad and kind of analyze what we would do here at Fairfield Christian School. We would need to lengthen every day by about an hour. So we don't have a schedule laid out yet, but we're looking at either like 7:30 to 3:15, 7:45 to 3:30, something like that. Again, just for middle school, high school, which would create longer days, but allow us to take the 5th day off. Currently, our 5th day is a half day anyway, so we're not missing out on a lot there. There are a few things we need to figure out, like if we didn't have school on Friday. By the way, some schools take off Monday, some take off Friday. If we didn't have school on a Friday, for example, we usually have chapel that day. We'd have to incorporate chapel throughout the week. Again, lots of other schools do it. That's not a huge hurdle. But there are a few other scheduling things we need to figure out as well. But what the 4-day school week does is it allows for a lot of flexibility for both students and the school. As a school, those longer days allow for longer periods throughout the day. Longer periods allow teachers to get more done. Listen, I can get more done in 4 50-minute periods than I can in 5 40-minute periods. You give a teacher an extra 10 to 15 minutes in any individual class, and they can get exponentially more work done. I will tell you, there's a lot of things that interrupt the teaching time within the classroom every single day. It happened today multiple times as I'm in class. Things that just interrupt that flow of teaching and learning in the classroom. And if that's just if one student has something to interrupt. What if you have 5 students that interrupt something? You may, in a 40-minute period, you may only have 20 minutes to actually teach because you're dealing with lots of actual other issues. So longer periods, 10 to 15 minutes more per period, would give us a lot more opportunities to instruct within the classroom. In addition, having that 5th day off allows us more flexibility in helping students individually. Individualization is very important to our school, as hopefully you guys know. It's one of the tenets of our school. So if we have students that are behind or students that are struggling in our schedule right now, there's not a lot of places where we can get individually with those students besides taking up class time to do that. However, if we had a 5th day off, teachers could schedule time with students that are struggling or behind, and those students could still come in on a Friday, so we could work more individually with those students, giving them the help and the support that they need. Again, we don't have that currently in our schedule, and middle school and high school, man, things get hard. Students sometimes need more time, sometimes need more opportunities, sometimes need more support and direction from teachers, and having those Fridays available to do that would be greatly beneficial for both teachers and for students. For high school students in particular, especially as you get older, internships, jobs, they now have an extra day to do those things. That gives a huge advantage to those students. If I'm an employer and I have a student that can work 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, rather than just maybe a few hours on the weekend, as an employer, that's very attractive to me. So it's going to help out those students where they're getting jobs and doing other things as well. So there's a lot of flexibility in the schedule for, again, both the school and the students. There's lots of other things to talk about. I could talk for a long time about this. I've done a lot of research on this. Steve Lindquist, who's the head of accreditation for ACTS, gave me the contact info for some other schools that do it so I could talk to them and get some information from them about the pluses and minuses of it. So we are doing a ton of research, talking to a lot of people, but we also want feedback. That's why earlier this week I emailed 6th grade through 11th grade parents, because you're the ones whose lives it would affect the most for next school year. Want your feedback. We have a survey for you guys to fill out through Facts. But listen, preschool and elementary parents, if you guys have opinions, I'd like to know those as well. Send those through an email. I'm more than happy to talk to you on the phone, but if I have them in an email, I can then share those with other people as well. So I do want feedback. I tell you, the feedback I've gotten so far from parents has been positive. They've liked the idea, but that's not to say that everybody does. So again, we want feedback from everyone before we make a decision. And so again, we need to make that decision in the next few weeks and then get schedules worked out and things like that. So I just want to let you know that's kind of something that's on our radar, something we're discussing. And it's kind of a big deal. It would change a little bit on campus, change the culture a little bit, but I think it would change it for the positive. But again, I'm just one perspective. I want to hear lots of people's perspective, so I want to hear from you as parents as well. All right. Beyond all that, with accreditation, there's a requirement that we also have people that can go and accredit other schools as well. So I'm actually going to be out of school next week for a couple of days. I'll be up in Sacramento. I'll be representing WASC, and I'll be helping to accredit a school up there in Sacramento for a few days. So next week, if I don't get back to you right away, if you email or call, that's probably why. I'm probably visiting classrooms, writing reports, in visiting committees, all sorts of things going on next week as I'm helping those schools, but I'll be out for a couple of days next week as I'm helping to take care of that. So like I said, lots of things going on. We need to make sure everything is going well, because we never want to just put a lot of stuff out there. We want to do it well. This is God's school. It's not my school. It's not anybody else's school. It's God's school. So we always want to do things that honor God. We want to do things in a biblical way. And so many times it takes reviewing all these things. So even our decision on a 4-day school week, does that mesh with what we know biblically? Does it honor God? We want to make sure every decision we make runs through that. Our school vision is to develop a biblical worldview, one child at a time. So every decision we make has to run through that vision. If it's counter to that vision in any way, we can't do it. And so these are all the discussions we're having as we make decisions. Does it honor God? Does it honor His Word? We don't want to do anything that is against God or his word. So we carefully deliberate all these decisions we make. And we're going to have a couple of policy changes and handbooks and things like that. As those things get finalized, again, we'll let you know, and that'll all be done well before February 19th when open enrollment begins. All right. Hope you guys have an awesome week. Hope you have a great weekend. See you guys real soon. God bless.